Hello, everyone. Just 2 days after the energetic full moon of Capricorn, which was energetic and quite strong at the same time because it was the second Capricorn moon in the month. The sun moved into Leo, and as soon as it moved into Leo, it became opposite Pluto. And for the next month, the sun will be very, very strong. It will be in its own sign. And at the same time, the sun is your ego development, but also it has an illuminating function. It either shines at the thing that it touches, and whenever it does, it fills it with energy and consciousness, but also highlights its original archetype. And whenever the sun is opposite another celestial object, that is the strongest potential, because then think about the full moon. The sun and the moon are opposite each other, and the sun is able to fully illuminate the moon disk. And this is what's happening now with Pluto. Whereas Pluto, think about it, think of the myths. Who is Hades? Or Pluto, the lord of the underworld. It never shows itself. Whenever it comes up to the surface, it wears a helmet that makes him invisible. And the only time when it really shows himself, let's put it this way, is when he rapes Persephone and takes her down to the underworld and creates from this very young and innocent girl, she becomes the lady of the underworld. So there's a big, really big transformation there. But that's the only time. Usually Pluto means that you don't want to see what's down there in your subconscious. Pluto, in the karmic astrology, besides the planet of power and transformation, also is linked to magic, all kinds of magic. So now, in this space-time moment, on the 23rd of July, you have, on the one hand, the sun, which is illumination, and on the other hand, Pluto, which is magic. So it is the space-time moment could be described as magic versus illumination. And if you want to do magic, it's one of the most potent times whenever the sun is making an aspect to Pluto, because Pluto is the magician by definition. This is the space-time moment. We have a 12th house sun in the London chart, which actually renders the sun also to the underworld, kind of, because whatever is in the 12th house is in your subconscious. So here there's the Sun-Pluto opposition. The Pluto is Hades, the lord of the underworld, and the sun is in your personal underworld, the personal subconscious. So that's quite interesting that although it fully illuminates Pluto, at the same time it remains hidden. And in this, of course, it also rules the space-time moment because we have a Leo rising. So the sun is the chart ruler, and we have the Vesta Venus conjunction, focused on love and money and harmony and well-being. That is on the rising in the London chart. We have a 7th house moon in Aquarius opposite Mercury. So there's another illuminating effect here. The sun, Pluto is a direct illumination, and the moon, Mercury, is an opposition where the moon highlights Mercury. So you can actually translate this as your communication is highlighted by your soul, your spiritual essence, but also Mercury is the child archetype. The moon is the mother archetype. So here the mother highlights and illuminates Mercury, the child. There's also a trans-Pluto Astrea conjunction, and there's also the Chiron Aries conjunction on the midheaven. We're going to look at those in detail. And the two strong feminine, Pallas Athena and Lilith, are again traveling together and getting closer and closer to each other. And Mars, which was very prominent in the full moon chart, is still on Sedna. We are just a day and a half later, almost 2 days later. So it's really there still. But we are going to look at the conjunctions in detail. So Here is the one of our best features, classic trapeze, which is partly dissociate and also energetic, because Neptune is at the very, very end of its own sign and retrograde, so moving out of the whole thing, whereas the rest of the celestial objects are making a very, 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 very tight aspects. This trapeze has the Neptune Mars Sedna sextile as it stops. So this is the top of the stage where you can actually step up and show the world what you want to show. The problem is that this particular sextile is a square energy. Neptune is still in Pisces, Mars Sedna are already in Gemini. The Gemini and Pisces are in square energies. So, and also the Neptune Sun trine, which was brilliant and very tight and beautiful in the energetic full moon chart, is now a quincunx energy. But the Pluto Mars and Pluto Sedna trine, double trine, is there energetically as well. Pluto Mars is about strength and power and how you function on the how your will is functioning by trying to be very, very strong and being a magician or a master of things. And the Sedna Pluto trine is this year's most important karmic astrological aspect. Pluto is power and transformation. Sedna means creation through dissection. And to my mind, when this is happening, and it's happening in air signs finally. So hopefully it will do away by the third direct hit, which will be in early November, December, sometime there. It will effectively somehow change the ideological background of the world, the present ideological background. Because think about it, this really dark green deal that they are trying to push on us is actually against humankind. Why do you want to better the world without human beings? This is always what I ask of my fellow people who are very much environmental protectors. You don't protect the environment if you do away with people, if you impoverish people, because the people, let me tell you something, okay? In Hungary, in the 60s, 70s, people were very, very poor. How did they heat their houses? By burning whatever they could find. They burned tires, they burned rubbish. And think about what went into the atmosphere, what poison went into the atmosphere, into the air. So if you want to impoverish people, then make them energy poor and food poor, and they will scavenge and they will burn whatever they can find, and they will really destroy the atmosphere. So you need to give people potentials, you need to give people some sort of hope that their life is going to be better. But at the moment, these new deals are making people really poor and desperate people are very dangerous. So that's what's happening. And with the Pluto Sedna trine, I'm hoping that there will be some sense in looking at stuff in a really good way, and hopefully there is going to be some kind of a new ideology emerging from this mess that we are in. So here are the transcendental objects. On the sun, you have Cyrus. Who was Cyrus? One of the strongest Persian rulers. So here the sun is in its own sign, ruling the world. And here, soon enough, we have Cyrus there. So be a strong ruler, become a strong ruler of your own life. Opposite it in Pluto, you have Plato, which is which is a philosopher. So we need a new philosophy, definitely a new life philosophy, which is plausible, workable, and feasible at the same time. On Mars Sedna, you have Tutankhamun, Pelion, Most Somnus, and the Pleiades. The Pleiades is the home of the creator goddess, so you have a very strong feminine energy, but at the same time, Pelion is the mountain of life that you need to climb. Most Somnus is TNO, which was very prominent during the pandemic. You can be sure that they will come up with another version of they're already talking about it. And again, they will be trying to pull the plug and having global shutdowns and things like that. They are working on it full time. Let's hope that they won't succeed. The people still remember what it was like. So they should really need 10 years at least, 10 or 20 years. Then they may be successful. I don't think that if they are trying to pull the wool now, that they will be able to do it again, because the people are smarter than that. And Tutankhamun is an interesting archetype because he is the son of Akhenaten. So he's the son of a very prominent ruler who changed the face of Egypt. And at the same time, Tutankhamun dies when at the age of 16 or 17. So he's the boy pharaoh who cannot be as strong as his father. So he's the not the weakling, but someone who is the offspring of someone strong, but not coming into power because he doesn't have the strength. So that's what is there. On Neptune, you have Shat. Shat is Beta Pegasus, the beta star of the flying horse in the sky, and it is one of the main worlds of suicide victims, the rehabilitation, the first stage of rehabilitation. So those are the transcendental celestial objects. And if you take a look at the 21st, 4th, 26th degree of the signs, you will find a complex planetary picture. There's a fixed ground cross involving Uranus, Mercury, Lilith, and the moon. Mercury Uranus is interesting because it gives you the misunderstanding archetype, really, because Uranus is flashes of inspiration and Mercury is the normal discourse. And now they are clashing in a fixed sphere, so we won't understand each other. The moon is your soul, your spiritual essence, and Lilith is revolt against injustice. So that's the fixed ground cross. And fixed ground crosses are very rigid energies. Luckily, there are two trines that are kind of lifting it up, two engines, but they are also fixed, of course. There's a fixed Earth engine, Moon, Uranus, Juno. So here the Juno-Uranus trine, the Juno is the official wife or the or committed spouse or covenants and pacts and promises, and also all kinds of contracts. And the other trine is the Chiron Aries trine to Mercury. So those are, and that creates a fixed fire engine, Mercury, Chiron, Aries, and Lilith. So those are the saving grace, and we have two fingers of fate, at the apex of which the first one has Juno at the apex, and the sextile is the moon and Chiron Aries. And the other one is Lilith, Juno, and the apex has Chiron Aries again. So those are the fingers of fate. And always it's the apex that is the strongest points of the fingers of fate. So those are at 24 to 26 degrees. And here are the transcendental celestial objects. They are very similar to what we had in the energetic full moon charts. I'm not going to tell you again what here, this is not ascendant. This was in the Budapest chart. Sorry about that. Anyhow, so on Uranus, you have Lempo and Alicanto. I spoke about this 2 days earlier, so I'm not going to repeat myself. And Argo, of course, is a very strong feminine star, Beta Perseus. On the Chiron Aries, you have the same four asteroids: Fortuna, Paracelsus, Guinevere, and Pompeia. Luck, total destruction, a polymath, and a spouse energy. On Mercury, you have Metis, the goddess of wisdom, Nemesis, the goddess of punisher of hubris, and Stila Nunam, which is a sky god and an earth goddess together. And on Lilith, you have Hidalgo and Deucalion, the same as 2 days earlier. So those are the Deucalion means survival and being chosen. So that's a good one. Anyhow, here are the conjunctions that I wanted to talk to you in detail. Whenever you see a conjunction, it means that the two archetypes are working together. It is kind of when you are afraid to move forward alone and you need a partner to do that, a friend, a spouse, your father, your mother, your grandmother, someone that you can work together with. That is what a conjunction is. And of course, the two archetypes need to work together. And it depends how well they are doing it, what these archetypes are, but also what sign they are in, because the sign is what gives you the background, the energetic background. The Aries Chiron conjunction is interesting because Aries is not going anywhere. It's going to be in Aries for quite a while. It has been there for 80 years. Think about that. Drastically altered outward circumstances. But now Chiron is also in Aries, and it takes 12 years for Chiron to move across this sign, which causes the most of it, and the deepest pain, because it is linked to aggression, war, violence, fire, all kinds of negative things associated with Aries. How you exercise the will, how the will is exercised against you, how aggression is done to you. These are the things. In Gemini, you have Mercury and not Mercury. So in Mercury's sign, you have Mars and Sedna. Sedna will remain in Gemini for decades, and Mars is there now highlighting this, giving it power and energy. Mars in Mercury's sign means that you, instead of fighting, you need to talk. So hopefully peace talks will somehow emerge. True peace talks are not smoke screens. And we can rearrange the things that are broken. Hold on a second again. I did this in Hungarian as well, and I left a couple of things there which should not be. Oh yes, it is. It's there. Sorry. In Leo, which is on the ascendant, you have Venus and Vesta, and this is brilliant. You can focus on well-being and harmony and money-creating things, how you will feel much better. So the whole magical moment of Pluto and the sun can be utilized by making your life better, nicer, more profound, more harmonious, more loving, if you focus on what you need to do. And in Leo, you need to shine, of course. And in Virgo, you have the Astrea Trans-Pluto conjunction. Astrea is dimension drum. Trans-Pluto is channeling. Sorry, Trans-Pluto is channeling and dimension drum. It's very, very early, and I keep talking anyhow. And Astrea is karma breaking, so you can break all embedded karma by jumping up and channeling information from above. And as I said, the Pallas Athena Lilith conjunction, which has been there for weeks and months earlier in the spring, is now again, they are now again moving together and working together. So that is the Sun-Pluto opposition, again, illumination and illumination and magician. So the illumination and magic, they are actually reinforcing each other. You can highlight and illuminate the magician energy in yourself. You can actually start doing stuff. Don't forget that these two planets are at the beginning of the signs. Of course, Pluto is now retrograde, so it will move back into Capricorn sometime in October, September, October, something like that. And then it will, but it's just a brief encounter again with Capricorn, and then it will move back into Aquarius for good. And that is when the transformation truly begins. And now the sun in Leo in its own sign is very, very strong. If you have a sun which is at the beginning of a sign, it means that you have a long period of time to understand that sign and to develop its potentials within you. Whereas if you were born at the very end of a sign, it doesn't really give you too much potential. Unfortunately, in secondary progressions, it will move out of that sign and move into the next one. And that is always a shock for people. So now, in this particular moment in time, we have a very strong Leo, the sun, highlighting and illuminating the magician energy. So that's it. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.